सरस्वती नमस्तभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धे भवतु मे सदा. Hari Om. I think Vasudevanji is not there, so I will only add his share of mantras today. Vasudevam sutam devam kamsuchanuramardhanam devaki paramanandam Krishnam vande jagadgurum मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. Hari Om. Hari Om. So we are now entering into what is the third Adhyaa of the Gita. So before we enter into the third Adhyaa, can anybody share anything that you recollect? Where did it stop? Hari Om ji. Hari Om Shivshankar ji. Hari Om. Yes, please. Anything that we can recollect? Where was it stopped? Actually, I think we saw about Samadhi. Krishna was answering about that.
I didn't hear the question, Mahodaya. Can you please?
Yes, sir. We are going to start the third Adhyaa. Can anybody recollect what is it that we stopped last? A link we establish every day.
Let me tell you. The main principles what Bhagavan is telling in this second chapter is that Atman is deathless and indivisible. And the second one, the body is insignificant and transient. The third one is Swadharma must be followed. These are the three main principles what he is trying to convey.
Yes. Okay, Shankarji. But then there's a question, is it not? If the body is insignificant, why should we follow Swadharma? Is it not? Yes. Okay. So because one side Krishna has talked about this, something which is eternal, something which is supreme, which is immaculate, which is perfect, is inside of us. And on the other side, he says, no, but the Sharira is going to be changed and Sharira is going to get destroyed ultimately. And then he talks about Swadharma, then he talks about Karma Yoga, not wanting any results. Then he talked about Samadhi. Samadhi Sthiti is the highest state where completely complete balance, poise is there. Even if there is a storm on the outside, the person is calm on the inside, not too excited about happy moments, not depressed by sad moments. So all these things, Krishna has, one way he has actually said it in a very clear way. But as we all have this question, how much is Arjuna going to get? And I think he already gave 0 or 4 out of 10 to Arjuna. Because the only reason is that Arjuna's situation right now, his mind is not ready to grasp that kind of higher knowledge. Because sometimes, even if you look at Bhagavad Gita, everybody does not read it. Talking about everybody. My mother wanted me to read the Gita. I said, no, I don't want to hear it. Because there's a time needs to come. And luckily it came. Otherwise, I don't know when it would have again come. So that moment is required. And the consciousness should be there to receive it. Then reception is possible. Right now, Arjuna's emotions are on the surface. They are acting like a barrier for receiving the higher wisdom. So even if Dhamma Vidya is coming directly, Sakshat from Krishna himself, how much is it going to Arjuna? Many of us, we are happy with one darshan of Krishna, or if just Krishna says one word, even in a dream, Krishna appears, and that is enough for us to carry on for maybe sometimes years as well. Here Arjuna has Krishna right in front of him and speaking so much. Yet why is he not getting transformed? Well, that is the aspect we can say. Right now, he is in the flux of his own emotions, in the middle of his work, and he feels this is not directly connected. So his question comes, and like I said, we are very lucky Arjuna is asking these questions. Otherwise, we would not get the clarity. The freedom of Sanatana Dharma is also evident in the way Arjuna can easily question. Even though he has said, Shishyasteham Shadimam Tvam Prapannam, he still has that full liberty to question and ask and even doubt. Let us see what is it that...
Shashaji,
yes,
before we go to the third Adhyaa, can you just revise a little about the day and the night thing that Krishna was
Yes, so there are two perspectives. If we look at it, if you want to know the exact shloka number, we will see.
69, I guess.
69th shloka. Yes. Ya Nisha
Yes.
Sarva. Yes, that is perfect. Ji. Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasyam Jagrati Sanyami Yasyam Jagrati Bhutani Sa Nisha Pashato Muni. So there are two perspectives. So this is two ways of thinking. One is considering what is night for one person is the day for the other, and what is day for one person is the night. So these are 2 points of views. If you can talk about the spiritual point of view and the material point of view, always there is a kind of a conflict. A materialistic person will look at a spiritual person and say, what kind of useless person is this? I don't want to be there. I like this at all. And vice versa. Here also this, this is like, I don't like this. So these are perspectives, but we see this is a duality. What is night for one is the day for other. What is day for another is night. But which is true? Or is this duality right? That we will see. Probably this Adhyaa will answer that question, because the Upanishads also talk about Vidya, Avidya, and both these ends also one has to transcend. Even Vidya and Avidya has to be, because even reconciliation of opposites takes place when the Satya comes to the front. That is the highest. So what is this? These are two perspectives is what Krishna is sharing. And it is also right. A person who is selfless cannot tolerate anything that is selfish, or will not want anything selfish near him or associated with him. Same way for a selfish person, nothing is more disturbing than somebody who is selfless. So these 2 points of view Krishna is saying, and he's just saying, probably he's wanting Arjuna to realize that, see, there are both types of people. You know where you are, so why are you getting disturbed because people are like this? If you recollect in first Adhyaa, Duryodhana says, even if these Kauravans don't think that way about me, they are still my brothers, so I still worry for them. Why is he now thinking about that perspective and his perspective? Because if you confuse yourself with two different perspectives, you are going to be lost. You need to, when you are going to explore in one direction, you have to be on that one direction. So here Arjuna was thinking of the points of views of everybody at one time, which was creating. He was thinking about the women in the society, he was thinking about his ancestors, he was thinking about the future generation, he was thinking about his guru, he's thinking about Bhishma, his own children, all of it. So all this would have created a great like when you are having so many, it's like an aimless flapping. You do not know where you are going. So this was the state of Arjuna's mind. Krishna is trying to bring him back. He talked about samadhi, and he said, see, these are two perspectives. So remain, look at it with balance. Take it with a pinch of salt, pinch of pepper. Just listen to it. Take it balanced is what probably Krishna is explaining. Because he says, see, ultimately all of these, like rivers, they are turbulent, they come, merge into the sea. Krishna gives that example. And what happens then after merging into the sea? They become calm. Everything is peaceful. So if you don't believe in God, does that mean God will not exist? It doesn't make a difference. Sometimes the theist will have one view, atheist will have another view, but one need not jump to conclusions also. Sometimes theistic people do some stupid things and atheistic people don't do that. Or some atheists, many of the great saints were atheists once upon a time. They had this question of God, and then because they had the question of God, they went and then they got the Sakshatkar. So these are two perspectives which Krishna has shared. With that, I think we can probably, is it Dipti? Can we go ahead?
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Hari Om. So with this, we are ready to enter into the third Adhyaa. And the third Adhyaa, we are starting with the illustration for the third Adhyaa, which we are having. Can someone just describe this illustration? That will be useful. Yes, please. Yes, please. Most of the artwork is done by the artist Preeti Pandurangan.
Is it?
Can I speak?
Yeah.
Hello? Yes, please. Yes, please.
Mind is it is compared with this horse, and it is expected that its control should be in our hand. This is uncontrolled horse will lead to nowhere.
So a control must be in our hands, and it is like an uncontrolled horse. It will lead us
The
nowhere.
should be in our hand.
G. Okay, Srinivasan Ji, that's also nice. It is something like that. So charioteer should be in control, not the Indras are not like horses. They are just driving. Our Indriyas are going to take us astray. If we can control them, probably we will not go astray. That's a very nice point of view. Thank you, Srinivasan Ji. Yes, please. Anybody would like to add further?
Uh, I think, I mean, according to that, if we go on a ride of our consciousness, like if we are following our consciousness, then definitely we're going to lead to the happiness, because we have to just follow that.
Okay, so if we follow our, somebody can just have a little bit more. Consciousness. So what is that? What is this thing which we are talking about, which is guiding us?
The inner voice.
The inner voice. Okay.
See, whatever we are doing, when we are trying to do something bad, always our inner voice cautions us or gives a feeling that what we are doing is not correct, and so that when we start listening to our inner voice, there won't be any obstacles in our path.
So mostly when we listen to the inner voice, this inner voice is there for all of us, inside of us. We do not know, sometimes we are not conscious because of many various reasons. But when we follow that inner voice, we are in a state of happiness, or our journey for happiness becomes like quite a smooth path, because you're not going against your inner voice. Many times the inner voice guides us in different moments. So if we just listen and we realize that there is this divine being inside of us, we become conscious of it. Our road to happiness is the shortest. So let us see how this is connected. We have been talked about the divine being inside of us. We know about it. In the last Adhyaa, it was introduced. There is some divine being inside of us. Now listening to it brings joy, or sometimes the shortest route, the fastest route. If you see, the road is a straight one for happiness. So, all right, with this we can, I think, begin. We'll begin the third Adhyaa. Let's start. Hari Om. So this Adhyaa, what we are going to see is interesting is that this two perspective of spiritual and material, Krishna is actually trying to probably share to us that these are not two opposite perspectives. He's going to probably remove that line dividing the material and the spiritual. Let us see. Arjuna, Uvacha. Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojasi keshava. Arjuna asked, haven't you said, O Krishna, that what is superior? That spiritual knowledge over material action is better. Then why is it that you coerce me into action? This ghastly karma on me, why do you sanction? It says, why are you forcing me into action? You have already told what is superior. So again, Arjuna has clearly revealed what he has understood. He says, no, Krishna has talked one side about high spiritual things, another side is talking about material. He has told the highest spiritual is that which is going to be eternal. The other things are going to perish. Then he says, why are you giving me this confusion? He says, Yat kim karmani ghorema, this ghor karma of yuddha, why are you asking me to do? Instead, I can go happily meditate in the Himalaya. I will have a very nice time there. Why do you want me to do this kind of work? He goes on further. Vyamishreneva vakye na buddhim mohaya siva me tad ekam vada nishchitya yena shreyo aham apnuyam. My mind stands confused and disarrayed, for it fully understands not all that you have said. Hence, show me which is the correct way. What will benefit me? I request you to please say. He says, no, my mind is still confused. It was as confused as it was before you started speaking. So he says, no, your words did not have an effect on me. It does not understand fully what you are saying. And tad ekam vada nishchitya, as if mildly implying Krishna is only confused. He says, no, please tell clearly any one way. You're talking about both points of view, not something I like. He says, no, tell me. And then he becomes more clear. He's like, I want to know which will benefit me. Means that is a perfect businessman attitude. No, where is the profit? Which is profitable for me? You tell me any one, better give it to me. If you see this word, he says, what is Shreya? I need to know what is Shreya. In Kathopanishad, there is the biggest story of this Nachiketas, young boy, goes up to the door of Yama, and there Yama gives him a test. And Nachiketas passes the test because he knows what is Shreyas and what is Preyas. There are two things. And Yama gets very, very happy and starts blessing him. Yama also appears like Krishna only, like Krishna to Arjuna. He is full of love for this young boy, Nachiketas. So he says, what is Shreyas and what is Preyas? Meaning, what is pleasurable or what is desirable and what is good. So many times we have to choose what is good, and always if you choose what is good, you are never going to go astray. Nachiketas is given a lot of lures by Yama. He says, I will give you a very, very long life, but don't go after that truth which you are seeking, that highest truth which you are seeking. Don't go after that, he says. I'll give you a very long life. So then Nachiketas says, no. Then he says, I'll give you land as much as you can see. Wherever your eyes fall, that much land will belong to you. Still, Nachiketas says he doesn't accept. Then he goes on. He says, then young boy is tempting with, you will get the most beautiful wives. You will have, which even the strongest of men cannot earn. Your next 10 generations will live full 100 years. This is what he promises. Normally, anybody would say, wow, what an offer. Why do we not resist? How can we resist? But yeah, Nachiketas asks the question, what after that? He says, ultimately, are you not going to come? He says, ultimately, are you not coming to take everything from me? And what then? What will happen to me? I don't want to just lose that. I want to seek what is the best. So, what is Shreya? That entire Upanishad is about understanding what is right, what is the right thing, what is the best thing over what is pleasurable. What is sometimes desirable is not always what is right. And here Arjuna wants to know. He says, no, Tatkim Karma. He says, this Ghor Karma, why should I do it? I want the right thing. And Krishna, Tadekam Vada Nishchetya. Tell me with certainty, anyone. Don't speak about both sides. Like, that is not what I want, he says. So now Krishna replies. And again, the patience of Krishna, how much patience is visible. Probably for that reason, at least we can start worshipping Krishna for such beautiful patience and tolerance that he has towards Arjuna. Let us see. Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. He says, Lokesmin Vividha Nishtha Pura Prokta Maya Nagha Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. Krishna says, Shri Krishna spoke, men of two faiths in this world dwell, O pure one. As I had said before as well, those to whom seeking the eternal knowledge gives satisfaction, and those who believe firmly in the yoga of action. So there are two types of faiths people believe. One he's calling one belonging to the way of the Sankhya, seeking the eternal knowledge, the Sanatana knowledge. The aim of the life is to receive that knowledge and seek that knowledge. And then there is another, they say, no, I don't need that, I need this. This world I see, I want to work here only, and they believe firmly in action. So these are two ways Krishna is talking about. Then comes the next part. Na karmana manarambha naishkarmyam purushoshnate na cha sannyasana deva siddhim samadhigacchati. A state of detached action in works can't be reached without man's beginning or performing the action. And great spiritual boundaries can't be breached by physically renouncing all the works or by inaction. So again, this connection between two is clearly told by Krishna. By inaction, you cannot advance spiritually also. There are boundaries, there are levels, there are, even on the path of the spirit, one has to ascend. So many levels are there. So that ascension also is not possible by letting go of all your duties, all your works. You cannot breach those boundaries. And same thing, you cannot claim to get detachment also if you're not doing work only. It is very interesting. I remember in my college days, second year, third year of college, I decided I'll stop playing badminton, something I was doing right from school days of, say, third standard, second standard onwards, that was going on. And I thought I'll now focus on my studies. So I went to my father. He is now a retired doctor, but he still plays badminton even now. But I went to him and told, I think I'm going to stop playing completely. I don't want to play anymore. And it was a big moment for me. But then he asked me a very simple question. He just told something. He said, what, you are retiring before your career started? And I was very disappointed that time, but that's a very valid point. It is like, it is raining outside. My friend just somehow escapes from the rain and manages to come, and he says, I had this raincoat. I was lucky I didn't get wet. So I'm happily sitting on the couch watching TV, and I also look at him and say, I also didn't get wet. Is that logical? I never left the house. There's no chance for me to get wet. So something like that. Who can claim to get detachment? Who has entered into the field of action? That person can say, I have got detached after entering the field. Somebody who never enters the field cannot even say that. At Kshetra, you have not entered. Where can you say you have got the detachment? I have got Neshkarma. I have got Brahmananda. All these experiences. One has to enter into the field. One cannot neglect action, is what Krishna is saying. So, what is this action then? What is this karma which Krishna is talking about? What is this karma that one must engage in? That becomes clear in the next shloka. Fifth one, nahi kaschit kshanam api jatu tishtatya karma krut karate yavashah karma sarvah prakritir jair gunaihi. Not a single moment can pass for man, as without engaging in activity, exist no one can. This nature's qualities on all beings has been endowed. A bond of works and actions on man has been bestowed. So Krishna is saying, not a single moment, na kaschit kshanamapi. There is no moment when nothing is going on. Always something is going on. Right now, when this session is going on, can we say nothing is going on? We are doing, what are you doing? We are doing nothing. Is that the case? No. One person's talking continuously, and the others are listening. They are thinking about it. They are connecting it with their experiences, or your thoughts are going on. Somebody who has probably had their food, now that food is getting digested inside, heart is beating. So many karmas are taking place every time. Thoughts, chinta, these thoughts are also a type of karma. Every moment an action is taking place. Every second is what Krishna is saying. Not a second can escape. Why he's saying? Because this is the rule of Prakriti. Prakriti has stamped. We are introduced again to gunas. We will study. I think one introduction was there about gunas in the last Adhyaa. Just a word was mentioned. Now also again a small introduction is there. Later on we'll have an entire chapter on gunas. Krishna is going to not leave that topic. But so these gunas of Prakriti, we have seen there are three gunas. We have not studied them yet. But these gunas are stamped upon human beings. So something like our nature has forced some things on us. Because of that, we are always going to be engaging in activity. You go to the park also simply and sit, and then you get a call. Somebody says, "What's up?" You say, "Nothing's going on." But you just keep the phone down and just look around you. What's going to happen? There are little children playing in the park. One child falls, another is crying, another is laughing. There are people going for a walk, people of different ages, birds are there, different insects, animals, all are in a state of action. All are engaging in karma. There is not a moment which is going where no karma is taking place. So we cannot escape that. Even our own life cycle, if you see, even we have to go to sleep. It's like as if just as we charge our mobile phones for once battery is down. Human beings also have a recharging. Everybody has to. Timing varies. Sometimes people have difficulty sleeping. That's a different aspect. But throughout the day, we have to gather. We have to get inside food. That is a karma we have to do. We have to digest it, and then again, the end of the day, you're feeling that tiredness. So everybody is like functioning according to a cycle, and this cycle is what Prakriti is stamping upon us. We are sometimes not conscious, but no, even if you are not conscious, the karmas are taking place, is what Krishna is saying. He goes on. Karmendriyani sanyamya ya aste manasa smaran indriyarthan vimudhatma mithyacharaha sa uchyate. So Krishna says this name, mithyachara, mudhatma. Who is this person who is foolish, he says. A way to physically control the senses a man may find. But if he constantly thinks of the senses in his mind, he is caught up in self-discipline's wrong notion. Such a being is beguiled by his misplaced devotion. So, a way to physically control the senses. One may find a way to control the senses. But if he is always thinking of that in the mind, then what has happened? A yogi has gone, he's disappointed with something, or he's thought about something and he's gone to a cave without transcending the source of the desire. He's just suppressed it with some kind of force. Now, because he has not transcended it, because he has suppressed it, it's going to come back with greater force later on. So he does wonderful sadhana. But the moment he comes back, the same desire which he was pressing is going to come back to him. So Krishna is saying that somebody who is suppressing. So one thing we see, like we do yogasana also, we're not asked to force ourselves in a particular posture also. If you force yourself, you're going to be in trouble. I remember my coach had once, badminton coach had pushed me very hard, and my stretching was pretty weak. So he thought I was just being lazy and not doing it, so he pushed me. And that exercise gave me really nightmares. Every time that exercise is to be done, it took me like 6 months, 7 months. I would carry it because my body's conditioning was a little different. So something like that, each individual has a way, but without forcing, one must learn to transcend. Krishna is saying, because if you just transcend in outside and inside you have not, then it's not a good thing, and it's a wrong notion of self-discipline. It's an unnecessary thing because yoga also happens in a very sahaj way or a simple way. One need not worry about how it happens. Yoga sadhana also can take place when it goes naturally. But this is what Krishna is saying. He says that person is caught up in self-discipline's wrong notion. Such a being is beguiled by his misplaced devotion. So a misplaced devotion which is troubling that person only. But Krishna is using strong words of mudhatma and mithyachara. I think I remember one moment where after joining my teacher and I just had a desire to eat bhel puri. Now for some reason bhel puri was coming into my head. I thought what to do. Fine, I said I'll just go to my teacher and say I'm having this thought of bhel puri. What should I do? And he actually said, go eat it. I was a little shocked. I was like, what is he saying? He's telling me to eat it. He said, no, go eat it. And I thought, fine, I've got green signal. So I ate regularly bhel puri for continuously 3-4 days. After that, that desire of bhel puri or that novelty suddenly disappeared. And then I felt, okay, yeah, right. So now I can go on with work. I don't have to, because nowhere was I told not to eat it, but there was a wrong thought inside of my head that I should not have cravings. So I was going away. But because of that, later on he told me, see, if you force yourself that way as well, you are again unconsciously thinking of it. There's a story that Socrates had asked one person had come to become his shishya, and this person had said, I'm so and so, I have studied so much, please accept me, I want to learn philosophy and other things from you. And he said, okay, listen, he said, go home, but don't think of tomatoes. And that's all he says. And come and meet me the next day. What a simple test he has given me. He shouldn't think of tomatoes. Afterwards, why did he say tomatoes? What does thinking of tomatoes have to do with anything? Is he playing a joke with me? This entire set of thoughts kept going on the inside, and next day he came to him and he said, no, I am not got any knowledge. I don't understand anything. I'm sorry, I'm not fit to be your student because I was thinking of tomatoes all the time, even though you told me not to. And then he tells him, this was a test, and this is what the way of the mind is. So it is something like that. You do not pressure yourself, but you understand your direction, slowly move towards that goal, is what Krishna is saying. Otherwise, you're going to make some trouble to yourself. You're going to cause strain. Even in yogasana, if people cannot do completely also, if when they do that portion, how much is possible, it still gives them the benefit. And slowly that person suddenly becomes changed completely. Yes, Shiv Shankarji?
Na hatat na balat.
Na hatat na balat. Yes. Hatha. Why is that hatha required when it can happen naturally? Let divine have his hatha that we have to evolve. Why do we have to? We just have to be sincere and in our journey. It happens. So Krishna is saying the same thing. Yes, Tvendriyani Manasa. Yes, please. Somebody wishes to add something.
Yeah. I just want to say that I just recalled from the tomato example. Like in our own house, like I tell my son that you can have chocolates only on Sundays.
Mm-hmm.
So for the whole week he's fine, but as soon as Sunday morning comes, he's always thinking of chocolate until the time comes. Okay, I tell him, okay, after like your lunch you can have. So till that time he's always constantly thinking, okay, what is the time? When can I have it? When can I have it? So that once he has it, that it's done. But till that time, he's not able to focus on little things also, which he likes. Because he's thinking constantly the chocolate part.
Yes, Deepti. That's a nice observation. So that is the game, and that is what the mind plays the trick. So that is why all these Upanishads and so many rishis, so many sons, they say, no, keep your mind aside, tell your mind to become quiet, because it can unnecessarily make you run away in directions and make you forget that the ananda that you are seeking is very, very much with you. But let us continue now. So Krishna is saying, Yastvendriyani manasa niyamya ravaterjuna karmendriyai karma yogam asaktaha sa vishishyate. He who by the mind controls the senses and is detached, O Arjuna, from all sensual disturbances and performs all his works and actions in this yogic way, he is considered the most superior person any day. Somebody, he says, who is completely with the controlling of with the use of mind. Mind is actually called Indra of the Indriyas. Our senses are called Indriyas, and there is an Indra on top of all of these. So these Indriyas, like now Dipti shared the example. Her son is having this desire to eat chocolate, but he is controlling it for all 6 days. For 7th day, he is waiting. But how is he controlling? We can say that is a good mind, where mind is having that self-control. So the Indra is controlling the Indriyas. Something like that is the case of a yogi who is controlling the senses with the mind and is detached from all the disturbances that are coming from outside. And that person, if he is able to perform all his works also, if he is able to perform all the actions in this way, so even if that is there with the control and yet performing the actions perfectly, then that is the most superior person, is what Krishna is saying. He is the most superior person who can control his senses and also do all his deeds perfectly. Yesterday there was a wonderful question: what is the motivation then if you are not phala, not for phala? Mam phaleshu kadachana is what Krishna said. So that is a question we'll still keep in abeyance. Krishna is going to answer that, but till we get that answer, let us keep that aside. But that's a very valid question. If you are not going to be motivated by desire of fruits, what should be the motivation? Let us see further. Krishna goes on. He tells him, Niyatam kuru karma, tvam karma jayev, yakarmanaha sharira yatrapi chatena prasiddheda karmanaha. Without attachment, perform your every action. Why? Because action always supersedes inaction. Even your body's life journey cannot be sustained. Without action, no accomplishment can be gained. So Krishna is, as a matter of fact, he's saying, action is always greater than inaction, he says, very logically. So he says, without any attachment, perform your every action. We'll look at the motivation drive and then see the benefits of this detachment, or with how to do without attachment. But at least now we can be conscious of Krishna's suggestion that he is saying this is a better way. Why is it better way, or is it really better? We will explore a little later on. But he says logically, he says, and then importance of action, he specifies, says your body's life's journey only cannot be sustained. It is said, Shariram Adhyam Khalu Dharma Sadhanam. Your first duty is towards your body. If you don't take care of your body, what's going to happen? If I say, no, I want to eat all foods that are unhealthy, or I want to have all unhealthy practices, can I assume I'm going to lead a long life? It's not, because my body is dependent. It is what fuel I give, that way the vehicle will go. And there are so many factors. Sometimes the body is not strong enough, where that person has to now take extra care for the body to function properly and go ahead also. And everybody have their plus minuses in their physical. So first thing is to take care of the physical, then mental will be ready. Otherwise you are lost in the physical and then you speak of mental, what's going to happen? We want people with highest intellect to serve for so many years. What will happen to Bharat when we have such great people working so many years? Great karma yogis will bring about a transformation, will give direction. We don't want them to run away and get nirvana and all of it. Fine, get it, but get it after making everybody realize. So this aspect, this body, taking care of the body is one important thing Krishna is saying, and Krishna says that. So even your body also cannot, if I just don't take care of my body, my life will not journey cannot be sustained. Just even for body I have to do karma. What about everything else? Krishna says. He goes on. Then comes the next aspect. What is this karma yoga? Karma yoga is like some kind of special mode of functioning. It is, we will see why is it that way? What is different in karma yoga? Or because we know karma is action. Every action is karma. But karma yoga is something which is special. Yoga means union, and karma yoga, you are united with what? With what that thing is a different exploration itself. But when you are doing in that state, in that activated state, when all your actions are done, it's a different way of functioning. Let us see what it is. Sah yajnaha prajaha, no sorry, 9th shloka. Yajnarthat karmanonyatra loko yam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samacharaha. Is a beautiful explanation for the word detachment in Sanskrit. Mukta sangha. Let us see. Except the actions that are performed in a state of sacrifice, chained to karma's bonds, are all actions done otherwise. So one thing Krishna is talking about, he's talking about sacrificing. Sacrificing your desire for fruits is also a big sacrifice. But he says, why you have to sacrifice this desire of fruits? Because he says, except those actions that are done in this state of sacrifice, all are having karma bandhana. You're going to be trapped in that flux of karma. You're going to have these karmic consequences which you have to bear unless you are in that state of yajna. You are doing that because yajna also begins with agnya swaha agneya idanna mama. No, not for me. Not for me. It is so that aspect of personal results, personal returns. If you are able to keep that aside, Krishna is saying you are not going to be trapped in this karma bandhana. We just let us see further. He goes on. That is why, oh Arjuna, your actions you regulate with the freedom of detachment, as I postulate. He says that is why he says this is a freedom. Detachment is not something which is a cold or unnecessary, like no emotionless, become a stone. Krishna has never asked that. Look at Krishna; he's always smiling. He's in different moments. We saw in second Adhyaa also. Prahasanneva Bharat. At the wrong time, we will never smile in such a situation. Our hero is in depression. He is the one who is going to fight and take you to victory. Everybody is dependent on him, and he says, I'm not fighting. Not a moment to smile. But here our Yogeshwar is there, Lord of Yoga, who has only made the foundation of yoga, and he is smiling because he is already in that state of consciousness. He understands that this is all of this fall is also because after this fall there's going to be such a rise. That rise is going to be the greatest. He will reach the highest skies. All of this about Arjuna, it is probably he was aware. It's all right. Let this fall take place. He is there in his state. So the actions where he is not worried. If Krishna was worried, what would he Krishna would have a panic attack. If he was not having detachment there, he'd say, no, 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 Arjuna, this is not right. But no, he is there, and Krishna is saying that is why if you are there in this state, you are not going to be trapped in karma bandhana, and this is a very big Vedantic truth. These karma bandhanas, we do not know how sometimes our words spoken to some people. I remember I joked to my friend in school, and everybody would joke to him, and I did not think I did anything special just because I was 1 year elder. What I did was worst for him, and he became a doctor. And then one day I met him, and he said, you, and I was not understanding. It's just in his first year, and I was not understanding what's wrong. And then I realized that what joke I was doing, though it was the same one, it was probably milder than the other joke because it was coming from me. I had created one sanskara which had really disturbed him so much. So one thing, normally I would have got irritated or I would have joked for immediately if I was in the same state of action reaction. Luckily, I thought, no, there's some problem. I think this could become more serious also. So I just went and I said, I'm very sorry. I should never have joked. You were looking at me like an elder brother. I should never have done all of this. And then he understood. But you see that silly dialogue or simple words that were spoken sometime. I had no idea that this dude was carrying it in his head for so many years. So like that, we don't know what karmas we do, where we do, when we get those phala also. We don't have to desire karma phala, that is true, Krishna is saying. But that does not mean karma is not going to have karma phala. So all actions, at least for that reason, we must do right karma. But if you are doing in this state, you don't even have to worry. Why they say Shubha Shubha Parityagi, the person who has gone beyond auspicious and inauspiciousness. When you are in that state of karma, the Isha Upanishad beautifully begins with Isha Vasamidam Sarvam Yat Kinchat Jagatyam Jagat. Recognize that he is the owner. All that is but his. Living, non-living, everything in the world. It says, understand this, recognize this owner joyously, forsake everything. Ma Gradha Kasyas with Dhanam, it says, don't try to steal another person's wealth. And then they say further, they say, Kurvan Nevehe Karmani, Jiji Vishe Chatam Samaha, Evam Trai Nanyat Hetosti, Na Karma Lipyate Nare, Na Karma Lipyate Nare. It is like sometimes people come to lose weight, they go to dietitians and then they're always disappointed that they are being given this difficult diet. Don't eat this, don't eat that. In their night, they have dreams. In their dreams, what do they see? They're eating all the junk food they can, and not one calorie is being added into their body. It's like a dream for many. That's something like that. But this karma yoga is also something similar. It's actually living that dream. When you are in that state of karma yoga, you are not going to add any karma bandhana to yourself. You will be like a lotus leaf. Water will not water will not stick onto the surface of the leaf. You will remain in water, but water will not be stuck to you. Something like that. That is the way of yogi, and Krishna is saying The same thing. Probably Krishna wants Arjuna to become a yogi first before becoming a warrior. He's just saying this to him. He says, see. And then he calls it Mukta Sangraha. We will probably look at Mukta Sangraha again. This word I will just keep it aside because after we know the motivation of detachment or the way of what Krishna Gita talks about, English word is detachment. Gita is using so many words. Asanga, Mukta Sangha. So many words keep coming. But let us go to that later. But this is a very beautiful word, Mukta Sangha. Free union. You are united also and free at the same time. That is probably the ideal relationship also, where both are connected, both are and free also. One gives full freedom to the other person as well. And yet in that freedom, the connection is not lost. So this is what our Krishna is talking about. He goes on further. He's talked about yajna. So when you are doing a yajna, that time you are not going to be trapped in this karma bandhana, or you are going to be activated. You are activating karma yoga mode in your life when you are doing a sacrifice. Why? How? Let us see later on. Sah yajnaha praja srishtva purovacha prajapatihi anena prasavishyadvam esha vostvishtatva vostvish. One second. Every time these words get tongue twisted. Vostva ashta kamadhuk. Meaning Brahma the progenitor, through the act of sacrifice. So the Srishti, the creator, the Prajapati, the creator of this Srishti, he, through the act of sacrifice, created the universe, bore the first living beings, and put forth this edifice. He said, as from sacrifice, you all originated. Through sacrifice, your life's evolution will be actuated. So Krishna says, Brahma, Prajapati created this universe. The creator of this universe created with this rule, he says. While creating, he says, you were born out of a sacrifice. And because from sacrifice you have originated, sacrifice will be your way for evolution. Sacrifice is your key, is what he's saying, for evolution. Because you have made the sacrifice, the world has been created by sacrifice. Now, what is the sacrifice of this God, or what has he done? That comes later on. Arjuna is not concerned about that right now. He is more concerned about himself. So this Adi Yagnya, all of this, what is this? Who is the Adi Deva? This comes later on. Whoever, whatever it is. But what is the sacrifice? How is sacrifice helping our evolution? Is this a right statement? Has sacrifice helped us evolve in our life, personal lives, if we look at it? Can sacrifice actually lead to anything better? Yes, in your personal views, anybody. Can sacrifice take you ahead?
I feel we become stronger.
Gayatri, you feel you become stronger. How do you say so, Ji? Are you not losing something because you are sacrificing it?
No, you actually gain something. Like you feel that without that also, by giving, you feel much better and you feel stronger. And you feel that if you have got it also, you would not have got that satisfaction.
Would you be able to give a little, any example if you have any time some sacrifices help make a person better? Any sacrifice done, which actually did not, maybe while doing it was a little difficult, but later on doing it only helped in the evolution of the individual?
Example is a job.
Okay, Ji.
Especially for ladies who are struggling between career and family life.
Okay.
Sometimes you feel when you leave the job, you feel that you are leaving greatest thing in your life. Like after some time, you feel that you seeing your kids coming up in the way you want and things are coming. You feel that is good.
Okay, so yes.
That is right.
So it doesn't seem like you've like maybe initially it is difficult to let go, and then once you've done it, it probably is something.
Yeah.
Else.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Gayatri. Yes.
I think Susuji, sacrifice leads to detachment.
Detachment.
Sacrifice, habit of sacrifice, or maybe in nature of sacrificing, gradually leads to detachment. That is what I feel.
Okay, sacrifice leading to detachment. Okay, that is
detachment. Slowly.
Okay. So that is one thing. Slowly sacrifice. Initially, it is painful, giving up the attachment.
Yes.
But slowly afterwards, that experience becomes a joyous one. And what is that sacrifice which is not offered with joy? So that is the complete sacrifice when you can give it. It is not wanting anything in return, because it's too precious that it cannot be returned. What you have given, It is not something, it's not a barter that I give this and you get that. It's not sacrifice. Again, like it's not a barter, it is also not about giving something which is not important. I have 10 shirts and then I say, this shirt is not so good. I go and give it. That's not sacrifice. I have 10 shirts and this is my favorite one and I give that one. Then that is a sacrifice. Maybe it teaches me empathy, maybe it teaches me compassion, or maybe it leads to my evolution. Looking at that person who's receiving it is now fully happy and feeling blissful with that. So this aspect of letting go is something which I think it leads to evolution, is what Krishna is saying. A nice connection Srinivasan ji has shared. Yes, Deepti ji, you wanted to add?
I want to give like two examples here. One is like in the real life, what we have seen always is, one is the sacrifice when somebody, you're giving birth to a child, right?
Okay.
So the mother goes through a lot of sacrifices. Like there's a lot of pain, there's a lot of things that goes in the physically and mentally and psychologically. There are so many things that a mother has to give up to.
Okay.
And the result is a happy one. Okay. Although I know that this, and even before going into that action, there are certain things which we know they're going to happen, but still we enter into that zone. And another would be like, if you see in a real life example, is like when we talk about independence. So there are so many sacrifices done by so many people. And that time it was very, very painful. And even today when we hear those stories, we feel that pinch, even we have not been in that state. Yeah. But that led to something which is really, really revolutionary for the whole world.
We are breathing free air, is it not? We do not know how many people. It is like, this is our metti is filled with this lahu only of blood of so many people. We don't even know who is there, who was before. So many nameless ones. How many names can you remember? For how many years? And how many years India is carrying this tradition? So this aspect
they're
is
consciously doing, and they have taken their action consciously. Like people who sacrifice their life, their family,
and they led to the evolution of our Indian system. Slowly, there was an evolution taking place. We are now moving towards probably their aimed aspiration. So, all right, Deepti ji. Yes, so there's one thing. Yes, please.
Sacrifices, yes, as Deepti ji said. So a student who's aspiring for IIT or medical, he's also sacrificing the fun and joy or the company of his friends.
Yes.
A child who is aspiring for some sports, he's also sacrificing the junk food or for that matter, the time with his friends it is not a pleasure to begin with. Initially. But if you see it over a period of time, you gain control over your senses. And I believe that everyone who sacrifices over a period of time and during the entire journey, when he kind of achieves what he has sacrificed for, he realizes that it was worth it.
Ji. All right. Yeah. So, yes, Rakhi ji. Seven, it is something interesting that we are all seeing real life examples. And again, about the system of, if you see, studying, I think everybody, when they're in their high school, 12, everybody sacrificed everything else because our system demands so much. Everybody has to do that yagni and sit and prepare for the exams. Same way, this is something where everywhere, why do we need to talk only about the spiritual aspects also? Any part of life, any job, it is in any situation, unless you sacrifice, you cannot move ahead. So this rule, whether or not we know about the Adi Dev or whether we know about the Adi Yajna, it is different. Forgetting the Brahma's perspective, we look at our own perspective, we see, yes, for Brahma's rule, it is functioning even right now. We see that sacrifice, they said, no pain, no gain. So we will go ahead through sacrifice. That is a movement. What if somebody says, I don't want to sacrifice? He's not going to move. That's all. The simple thing. The person will not go ahead. Yes, please.
Can I just add one thing? Yeah. That when we talk about sacrifice, it is not that, okay, I am going to sacrifice this, I am going to achieve this. Like, this is the starting point, this is it. But that in that whole journey, there are so many layers of which we are learning and unlearning so many things.
Yes,
learning. Maybe relearning.
And when surrender is there, surrender is done to the divine, you only become the ahuti, you become a part of the sacrifice itself. So you have now your ahankar, everything has to slowly disappear and completely becoming one. So, but this
I may just add a
yes, yes,
thing.
yes.
Initially, it may begin with a desire to achieve something,
Okay,
because even realization for God is a desire.
okay,
So you start sacrificing to become a realized soul,
hmm.
but during the process, you may, understand that the, any desire, be it realization of God, it's not worth to have a desire. But
Yes,
to begin with, it begins with
all right.
it starts with a desire to
A
achieve
motivation.
something.
They say
Yeah.
ego is a
The,
helper. The mother of Sri Aurobindo Ashrams, I think, is related of the verse. Ego is a helper. Ego is a back. Initially, it is like a wild horse. If you can tame
yeah.
that wild horse, you can move around with that wild horse. But you must understand that wild horse is not everything. So it is
Yeah.
something like that. Somewhere, Arjuna is like, I have to protect this dharma. I have to protect society. I have to do this. But his eye is only now making him into the worst situation. His eye has caused the depression, because now he's saying, I am going to lead to the destruction of the society. I am going to protect. So this aspect of sacrifice, we are just being introduced now. Krishna is saying this is the Prajapati's rule. Sacrifice will take you ahead. Let us see. Let us go on further. 11th one. So not only is it helping us, these yajnas are also helping the devatas, is what Krishna is saying. Next he says, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu vaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyaha parama vapsyatha. Through sacrifice, the gods you can bolster and call upon their blessings with your fervor. Thus, mutually you can together advance. With the supreme blessing, all life you can enhance. So it is Deva and Manusha I have created. The Prajapatis or the Purushottama is there, or the Supreme Purusha, whoever is that Adi Dev. He has created a wonderful system, and then he's gone into his Yoga Nidra or what state he is, God knows. So from there he is watching, and he says, see, you offer to the Devas receive your prayers, Devas receive your aspirations. And what will the Devas do after receiving your aspirations? They'll grant you blessings. So they are receiving the strength from you. That spiritual force will help the Devas advance higher, or it will help them, give them some strength. They will bless you and they will help you advance also. So both of you together, you get into the system of mutual evolution, is what Krishna is saying. So he says, this is how this Srishti has been created. Many times people offer to the Agni, and then Agni is recognized in the Veda that he is the one who is the messenger of the humans. He is the messenger of the heavens who takes our prayers, our aspirations to the Devaloka. And then many times after a yajna, if the rain falls, it is said, yes, the prayer has been accepted and the blessings have come. And so then people understand that, and his aspects, the psychological way of state of mind itself, Krishna says, will help in evolution. And this exchange is taking place. It is taking place, is what Krishna says. Let's go on. Ishtan bhogan hi vo deva dasyante yajna bhavitaha tairdettan pradayebhyo yo bhungte stena evasaha. When through sacrifice the gods you impress, all your desired enjoyments they shall bless. Those enjoyments to the Supreme, who doesn't offer, such a person is not but a thieving beggar. Not just a beggar, he's a thief and a beggar, is what Krishna is saying. Means what is coming from the divine also. So recognize that it is not only Ishavasyam idam sarvam, everything belongs to the divine only. So even what you are getting, recognize that it is not yours. Then there is this, I think, I'm not sure if it is Kabir Das. He said, Chadariya Jhini Re Jhini, is the maker has made a beautiful Chadariya. And he said, I have not used it at all. I am giving it back after making you I am giving it back just as it is. Because it has come from somebody else. It is somebody else's procession. This is a beautiful simile he uses, considering his life. And the maker of that cloth, the blanket, it is this divine only. So he said, I've got it from the divine, I'm going to take good care of it and I'm going to give it back as if it is not mine only. So this way, Krishna is also saying, whatever you get from the divine, understand. There's another beautiful saying where one person is giving donation. While giving donation, most of the people's eyes are up and they say, see, smile to the camera or look at everybody. How am I looking while I'm giving donation? These are all important things for a lot of people when they are doing the donation. But this guy was looking down. He was looking down and he was offering his donation. And people around him, what is this? Why is he looking like he's doing some crime? So one person goes and asks him, and asks, what are you doing? The reply comes like this: देने वाला कोई और है, भेज तो जो दिन रेन, लोग भरम हम पर करे, ताको नीचे नेन. He says, no, I just come from somebody else. I am being the middleman and I am just suffering. Everybody is recognizing me as if I am the source in there. That is why I am feeling ashamed that they are attributing it to me. That is the right state of mind. That's the right state of sacrifice also. Though doing this work, not recognizing yourself as the owner of the work, probably that is the way for Vedantic Vidya also. What great knowledge is awaiting all of us. Well, for that, this state of mind. And interestingly, Krishna says somebody who takes that credit. He is not just a beggar, he's been begging for it. He's got that blessing, but he's a thief also because he's stealing what is not his. So this is a very strong word he's saying. Let us go on further. यज्ञशिष्टा शिनः संतो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकेल्विषैः भुञ्जते ते त्वगं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्म कारणात्. After the sacrifice, whatever is the undistributed leftover, the good who are free of sin eat the oblation's reminder. The evil offer only to themselves to eat the food and only consume sin. Their actions accumulate no good. Krishna says, see, after the sacrifice, whatever is the undistributed leftover, somebody who takes that is going to get that free of sin. He's getting what we can say. He's going to be tasting that somras only, because now all the different people have received, all the shares have been given, and now the remainder. It's like sometimes at home when a mother or father cooks, you've served everybody else, and after everybody has eaten, then they go to take their share. And for them, that is the sweetest. Sometimes the share is less also, it doesn't matter, because everybody has enjoyed it, and that gives the greater satisfaction. And this is, I think, for those who have cooked can also agree that when people enjoy the food, it is more filling. It's as if some kind of inner connection is there that you are not feeling hungry anymore because people have enjoyed. Your way of, you feel like eating even little bit is, you enjoy it so much as if you have eaten a lot. So something like that, Krishna says, this is the way for the selfless one, the good ones. But everywhere there is the good and there is the bad. Duality is there in human beings. But what about the other? The others are those, they eat like a glutton, they just eat themselves, for themselves only. Even the Adhyaa is done for themselves. I want this in return. They only consume sin because their actions accumulate no good. He says, no, they are going to be trapped in karma bandhana. And that is not going to, that is papa, because Gita is not giving you fear of sin. But consequences of your wrong actions is papa only, is it not? Anything that is going against the progression of your soul can be called papa. Anything that is helping you go towards the divine is called punya. So this person who is seeking with this desire, that person is not going to accumulate any good, is what Krishna says. He goes on. Next is a beautiful set of shlokas. We will look at this 3 shlokas. And tomorrow we will actually see the motivation, the question of what should be the drive. Even you are giving up all desires. And interestingly, Krishna gives a lot, like a very, sometimes dietitians give cheat days for their patients or clients when they come to them, because they say, oh, he's taking so much effort. All right, this day you can, this banned meal also can be eaten by you. And then the person feels very happy. Something like that. There is one desire which is permitted. Krishna is going to share that also later on. One is, what is the drive? What is the drive for selfless work? And second, what is that permitted desire? That will come later on. But now let us see, we are seeing the Srishti, what we can say, the ecological niche, something like that. We are seeing that Brahma is created in the world. The Srishti has been created. And it's functioning through sacrifice. Let us see the shloka. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavaha. Yajnad bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavaha. From food, the living being's existence is found. And food is formed when rain falls on the ground. And rain comes from the sacrifice or yajna. and the sacrifice originates through the works or karma. So if you see, this is the wheel Krishna is talking about. First, you do karma, you do yajna. Yajna can be the ritual yajna also, or the sacrifice, act of sacrifice also. Can anybody do any sacrifice without karma? Not possible. Even for making a physical yajna you want to do, you have to get all the ahutis, you have to arrange everything, bricks have to be arranged, the gauri must be there, we need to have all the other different types of sticks, then ghritam is required, mantras are required, purohit is required. How many karmas are required? Even if you talk about just the ritual yajna, karma is required. And what about other sacrifices? Without action you cannot do a sacrifice. Action is required. Whether we see the student, if he says, no, I have sacrificed by not going to play or not wasting my time, but I'm not going to do the karma of studying, what's going to happen? No consequence, because karma is a basic thing. So yes, karma is there. And if you look at it, karma is symbolic. I mean, yajna, karma is required for yajna. Yajna involves, like if you see lighting of the fire. Fire is it begins, the Rigveda begins with fire only. Agnim miye purohitam. And Sri Aurobindo has told, and in the Rigveda, fire is called the Purohit. Fire itself is the Purohit, and that is where Krishna is, Sri Aurobindo is saying the secret meaning, secret of the Veda. He says that fire is the fire inside of our human beings. That there is a psychological meaning also behind the ritual. Because he is the priest of the call, he is the sacrifice who is going to take your prayers, he is going to burn all the impurities, make you rise in consciousness, take you higher and higher, take your aspiration towards the Deva. So this way the fire is there. And we know what happens when the fire is lit in physics also. Leads to whatever accumulating in the clouds, and then what does happen after that? And then we have Vrishti coming from the skies, rain falls from the ground. So same thing we see here. Rain comes to the ground because of the yajna. What happens when rain falls on the ground? Because rain falls on the ground, plants grow. Plants grow means what? We are getting food for animals. And because of this is the cycle, is what Krishna is saying. It all is connected with the karma. Which karma you look at? Divine perspective, divine has to do divya karma. Human beings also have to do a karma. Everybody has to do the karma only. Krishna goes on. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yagne pratishtitam. So it's a nitya yagna, always in a state of yagna. This entire srishti is there. Nowhere in the world, be a theist, be an atheist, any way of ideology, without yagna, without doing that sacrifice, you will not be able to perform or move anything, because this is the nitya rule, this is the eternal rule of sacrifice. Right now we are interacting with each other because of whose sacrifice? We do not even know this software, who developed it. So many researchers might have spent so many years to develop. Sometimes people spend their entire research to develop a technology which becomes obsolete overnight. Their entire life research is for bringing out something, and then that becomes just obsolete. What is the use of that technology? Now it has been discarded by the entire mankind because a new advancement takes place. But it was because of that research, it was standing on that sacrifice, that a newer technology could come in place. So this isn't, we don't realize that. For me, I am just parroting all what I heard from my teacher. But I know what sacrifice he has gone through in his life. His 75 years are actual raw experiences which he gathered. And when I say that I'm lucky, he says, no, I am lucky I got from my teacher, is what he says. And he says, my teacher had it more difficult compared to me. But I really know I have done nothing, how much my teacher has done. Then again, so this aspect of sacrifice, it is there everywhere. We do not even know that. But this is the world. This world is engaging in the state of sacrifice. And Krishna says this, karma is born. So karma is also having its origin in the Brahma. Karma is born of Brahma, or the progenitor. And Brahma has come from something which is Akshara. That is something which is higher, which is not manifest. From the unmanifest has come the manifest divine. We will look at this a little bit later. But even the Vedanta talks about it. There was some stirring taking place in the consciousness somewhere. And then there was Eko Ham Bahusyami, some kind of nad of Om started, and then Srishti, that big bang created a universe, is what Vedantic rishis as well as scientists talk about. The Nada only created everything. Here also, world witnessed the life born from a sound. So something like that. So here, thus the all-pervading Brahma is also engaged and in the state of sacrifice. the universe is arranged. So this universe is arranged in a state of sacrifice. Next one, evam pravartitam chakram nanu vartayatiha yaha aghayurindriyayamo mogham partha sajivati. He who follows not this universe's wheel and succumbs to whatsoever his senses feel is base in his pursuit of sensual enjoyment. O Arjuna, such a life is but a wasted predicament. So Krishna is very clear. We'll stop at probably shloka number 16. Krishna says this, that somebody who doesn't follow this universe's will and goes after his senses. But before we go to this shloka, it's just like now it is morning in India. The sun has risen. I say, no, it is night. Will that change anything? If I say it is night, will that change anything? Will it suddenly sun stop rising? Can you make me believe that sun is bright outside and the sun rays are falling on me and I say, no, the sun is not there? What can be done? Well, that's my perspective. But what's going to happen? Because of my perspective, I'm going to make a fool of myself everywhere I go. Everybody says good morning, I'll say good night. What's going to happen? No, this person is cranky, or this person has lost his viveka, or this person is gone, mentally unstable. So many names would come out immediately. So this aspect is a person who is driven by desires will say, no, I don't believe in sacrifice. I don't believe in Brahma. That does not mean that sacrifice is not going to exist. But what is going to happen if a person goes after his desires? He says, no, I don't need to sacrifice. I believe in the language of sensual gratification. What's going to happen to such a person? We are not cursing. Krishna is also not cursing anybody. He is the last person to curse anyone. Krishna never does that at all. But what is this? If somebody says, no, I don't believe in selflessness, I believe in indriyas, I believe in senses, and I need to fulfill my sensual needs, what's going to happen? Yes, please. Anybody? Whatever desires, I say I chase after my desires. Will that help me? Because we saw evolution takes place when you sacrifice. Can evolution take place? Yes. Yes,
It will not. It will not stop. It is a never-ending thing.
So what will happen to my life that way then? If I go after desires only,
you are vicious cycle. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Madhviji, and then I'll come to Rakiji. Yes, please.
You are unsatisfied and you.
It will be a waste, is it not? It will go waste, is it not? I'm just running after this desire or that desire. It will be a just unnecessary pursuit, which will be a waste of energy, waste of possibility, waste of potential. Many times addictions do that only to people. Very brilliant minds have been consumed by addictions and ultimately destroyed. Yes, Rakiji was sharing something. Yes, please.
Yeah, I was just saying you enter into a vicious cycle of wanting more and more, craving more and more, and that craving finally doesn't give you that much pleasure also.
Yes.
The basic drive for having more doesn't give you that much more utility.
Yes, Rakiji. And so it is it? It is not, is it not? It is something like that. The craving also, many times people have this desire to have a taste, some particular taste, and after a while it stops giving them that satisfaction. Even the addicts, they sometimes have to go into stronger doses also. And then they experiment with different drugs, and one day that drug only knocks them out completely in their life. Their life ends because of it. Why? They are seeking for something, some artificial pleasure they are seeking, running after their desire. Physical strength, people say so much. After 50, after 60, after 70, so maybe after 75, what's going to happen to that individual? Physical strength will deteriorate. So what will be then? What will be the consequence if the person attaches only to the physical all the time and look after physical desire? As this Ramdas Swami has already told, he's the guru of Shivaji Maharaj, and he had beautiful Manachi shlokas for the mind, for training the mind. It is like dehe rakshanartha kati yatna kela, tari shevti kaya gheuni gela. Means for protecting the body, how much attempts were made. So many attempts were made to make the body like this, like that, invincible. But ultimately, in spite of all these events, time took away the body after a while. Because this is the wheel of life. This is the wheel of life. We must understand sacrifice. Sacrifice is something which will help us, but if we do not sacrifice, do not follow that wheel, You're just going to run after these desires. A friend of mine, he would really smoke a lot in his in the college first year, second year only. He would take drugs also. We had watched his hand shiver while engineering drawings was to be done. He could not hold his pens properly. Also, the pencil in his hand would shake. So much he had trapped himself. And he did not. He felt he was enjoying it. And he's like, we are fools. We don't understand it. And somewhere in third year, he began coughing out blood. And then he suddenly started doing japa of divine name. He started saying that all the time. But now what has he done? Well, his desires have wasted his 3 years of education also. And hopefully he may have come out of it. Unfortunately, everybody lost touch with him later on. So we didn't really know what happened to him. But this aspect of life being wasted, because we remember that person very well. I also remember how he was in the first year before he got into the wrong company. So this aspect of desire, it is somebody who just lets desires take control and not sacrifice. That person is wasting a beautiful miracle of life. The beautiful opportunity of human existence is getting wasted because of it. Krishna says, he who follows not this universe's wheel and succumbs to whatsoever his senses feel, is based in his pursuit of sensual enjoyment. Oh Arjuna, such a life is but a wasted predicament. So we'll just end on a better note with one more shloka. So we'll, on a positive note, the 17th shloka. Yes, please.
Shishji, I have a question here.
Okay. Maybe after the shloka ji, or is it connected to the shloka?
It's related to this, the one we are talking about, right?
All right.
So one thing is that, if you talk about sacrifice, like suppose I am aware of it, right? So I'm doing something, I'm aware of it. So when I'm aware of it, it gives me, a sense of satisfaction. Okay, finally, whatever I'm achieving. But sometimes, I'm not sure, about it makes sense also. But sometimes, like if somebody is doing something, like little sacrifice, like a child is, they're unaware of it. And when they're unaware of it, of course, they're not, they don't know they're doing it consciously or not. Right? They're unaware of it. Okay. So that may not lead to the sense of satisfaction.
No, it is not more about the sense of satisfaction. Satisfaction is a consequence. Now, japa, they say you do this much japa, it will give you benefit. It is not, you need not be conscious of how many japas you are doing also. And sometimes mantras are told wrong also, pronunciations are wrong. Mara, Mara, Mara became Ram, nobody knew that, and Sakshatkar came to the Rishi, is that not? There's a story of it. So that happens. Your karma is going to, it's actually our karmas which are going to take you everywhere. Only when you are doing it, when you are unconscious, you do not know. It is better if you are sacrificing, even if you are doing unconsciously, it's fine if it's happening unconsciously also, because you are doing a sacrifice. So that is about ignorance. That's a different question about ignorance, which we will see. What is ignorance? What is knowledge? That is something later on. But it is okay. Sacrifice is the aspect, because if that person is running consciously after desires, that person is going to go in a wrong path, is what Krishna says. When a person doesn't run after the desires and is sacrificing, that time there's a greatest chance of improvement and evolution. Yes, Deepti.
Thank you.
Hari Om. So we'll just end with one more shloka, because it's better to always end with on a nicer note. So let us see the 17th one. Yastva atmaratir eva syad atmatruptascha manavaha atmanyeva cha santushtaha tasya karyam na vidyate. Yes, we will see this. And what is this? Yasya karyam na vidyate. Tasya karyam, what is this? Who is this person whose work also need not be done? He feels his works are also not required to be done, yet he's doing it. That is somebody, but somebody who is already sacrificed and has got tasted this ananda. He says, but he who revels in the delight of the self and lives joyously contented within the self, such an illumined and awakened person very joyfully exists, as his need for work to be done no longer persists. So somebody who has got that ananda, he says, what powder, chemical powder or anything is going to give me artificial happiness, or I don't need that. I don't need any drug to get into that state of bliss. That Chidananda is mine only. That Satchidananda is mine, that person feels. And then that is why many saints, Tukaram's words are also there very wonderfully. Brahmanandi lagili tai kona deha te sambhari. I've got that Brahmananda. Now who's going to take care of this body is his question now. He says, I'm experiencing that Ananda only. Ananda, the ripple of Ananda is there. He says, Ananda Chidohi Ananda Taranga. There is the Ananda there everywhere around me. There's a river of Ananda. In the river, there are ripples. That ripples are also Ananda only. So everywhere Ananda is there. That kind of feeling comes to that individual who has sacrificed all. Now he has nothing to lose. He is fearless also, and in each moment he is conscious and is blissful. And after that sacrifices, all that sacrifices are done. This person is not even feeling the need to do work. Means many times people have that restlessness to do work. That restlessness also is gone, and then what we see, a karma or something like life begins to function on autopilot. You don't have to worry about anything. You just have to intervene when it's required. Otherwise, things go on its own. That is something, that is a state probably we'll see later on what Krishna says. We stop here at Shloka 17. We'll continue with 18th Shloka from tomorrow. I'll conclude with the Shanti Mantra. If anybody has any questions, please do let me know. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaha, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. हरि ओम तत्सत्. कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्. ओम शांति शांति.
हरि ओम.
हरि ओम जी. हरि ओम.
हरि ओम.
हरि ओम जी. हरि ओम. हरि ओम जी. हरि ओम जी. हरि ओम.
हरि ओम.
हरि ओम जी. हरि ओम.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om. If any queries are there, please, you are welcome.
Hari Om ji.
Hari Om ji.